Okay, folks, welcome to the Del Rivers Show. I'm your host, Mark Elliott. With me, as usual, this time in the lime green, we got the Hindenburg of comedy, the man who has dropped more bombs than a B-52, the man whose comedy makes the Nietzschean abyss look like a piss hole in the snow, my old buddy Del Rivers.
And you saved yourself from a spit take, because I didn't drink yet.
Del pulled a spit take on me once. Here we have our special guest, our first guest ever on the Del Rivers Show, Mr. Chris Yambar, comedic genius extraordinaire, writer for The Simpsons, host of Lawn Con comic book show in Youngstown, Ohio, on his front lawn. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. I'm not in jail.
Del dragged Chris over here to be our very first special guest on the show. And Del would like to interview Chris, ask him a few questions.
Yeah. Well, Chris came up with one of the stories in the Treehouse of Horror, often seen on Sundays on the Fox Network. But this is the comic book version.
Yeah.
And talk about it. Yeah, stories about the Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah. Anyways, I've been working for The Simpsons, their comic book line, Bongo Comics, for the last 12 years. Okay? So they're crazy enough to renew for another year. So I'm on season 13 with them, so I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
so you've been with them since season 1, right?
No, since season...
On the book.
For me, my season.
The book.
My season 1.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Well, this second one's going to be terrible, dude. It's going to be terrible. So, okay, wait till we're going to dissect the frogs and the segment, or what we do.
That's why there's 7 seconds for the first take.
But yeah, I wrote the best part.
Since me walking on.
That's all right.
This is a disaster. It's great.
That's okay.
It's great. It's great. Are we wearing pants? We're all wearing pants.
We're all wearing pants.
We're wearing pants right
Now you're accustomed to what the show is usually like.
Well, let me just ask a quick question. You started with Mr. Beat.
Mr. Beat.
And how did that start you into the whole comic book universe?
Yeah. Well, I grew up on comics. That's in my blood. I love them. Okay, I have 4 colors in my blood. You know what I mean? It's right there.
Right.
Well, I worked as a pop artist, okay, since like 1987, and after doing about 1,600 paintings, I decided let's take a break because I was burning out at 1,600. If you're going to do something in life, do a lot of it. Find out what you love.
So you said you did a lot of rock star portrait type work. Was that right?
Yeah, I only did the female ones. Anyways, yeah, but I always did a lot of rock star portraits, inanimate objects, cartoon characters, whatever was of interest to me.
Okay.
I'd say, well, I'm going to do American Indians. So I'd go back and get old glass slides from the 1800s.
Oh, is that right?
And I would take and do a series of 25 paintings like that.
Based
and then
on
I'd
the
turn
slide,
around
right?
and I would do astronauts or aliens or monsters or whatever was of interest to me, I would paint.
Right.
Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, what the hell is the point of doing it? You know, really, if you don't have joy in what you're doing, then you're in hell. You know what I mean? So that's how it is. And speaking of hell, I've been working for Bongo, like I said, for 12 years.
12 years.
We're entering our 13th.
That's great.
This is the second Treehouse of Horror comic book I've done for them. But I've worked on almost every title for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Beat, my little beatnik guy, originally appeared on some coffee mugs. And he was just there. He had a little sign and a little cup, you know, a regular coffee cup. And this little sign said, "Will conform for coffee." Okay, so that was kind of the joke, because coffee's sacramental. Right. You know what I mean, to anybody in the Beat generation. You know, and Mr. Beat was all about art, music, social commentary, way too much caffeine, abstract adventures, highbrow.
That's true. The Beat generation were very much into their coffee and their Benjamin.
Coffee houses.
Absolutely. You know what?
Have their scenes.
Yeah, so I said, well, let's take this character and maybe give him his own comic book. You know, I'll take a year and just see what's fishing around with him. And so I put out Mr. Beat Adventures #1, got it distributed across America, found out that people really liked it.
Yeah.
So I started selling literally thousands of mugs and T-shirts and comics and traveling all over the United States. And you don't know who's watching your stuff. I guess that's the moral of the story. And here, a guy named Matt Groening liked Mr. Beat. Okay,
right.
and I knew all the people who were working for him, like Bill Morrison and the gang, and they called me at my house and asked me if I wanted to write for their comic book.
Wow, that's great.
And I'm living in Youngstown, Ohio. I said, should I move out to California? He said, hell no, stay right where you're at. Your money will go 5 times further than it did. Paid off the house, the whole entire thing.
Yeah. So you never moved out to LA to...
I go out there enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you go to San Diego, don't you, for the comics?
San Diego's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's all Hollywood Con.
Right, I was going to say
You
it's
know
more
what I mean? It
Hollywood.
used to be a Comic Con, but now it's Hollywood Con. You know, people are going out there to see the stars. So I'm thinking, the stars are behind the creation of the comics. Those are the people you go to see, you know, get stuff signed, defaced, sketches, whatever. But, you know, so I had a friend of mine, by the way, who went out to Chicago to a Wizard show. Now I abominate the Wizard comic shows. I don't do them. I won't.
Right.
I won't appear because they don't treat independent comic guys with respect. Now they're overcharging retailers for space and everything else. And I'm adamant about this. I just don't like that mob.
Yeah.
I don't really
Right.
care. You know what I mean? What?
Yeah.
Okay. So a friend of mine went out to Chicago and lost like $500-600 trying to do a gig there, and he got no support from them at all. No hello, kiss my ass, nothing. Okay, and he came back and we were just comparing notes because sometimes you just have dog shows, right? It just happens, like like Del doing stand up, and sometimes it just doesn't. It just
doesn't
work.
gel, right?
And you know that, right? Like you walk up there and you're
you're good with the bad.
Yeah,
right.
your ass blows up or something. Something happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, it's just terrible. But sometimes it happens, and so I said, you lost how much? I said, geez, dude, I'll put a comic convention on in my front yard for free. Well, he kept on me about it. My buddy Jimmy Proctor kept on me and kept on me and kept on me about this. And I said, oh, okay, we'll do it. Well, we did it. First year, we had like 250 people show up. It was crazy, because we used just Facebook and some mail and some gossip.
Yeah,
and
just general promotion.
People showed up in costumes and everything. And not only were you able to meet cartoonists, because it was bring your own table. They bring their own table, they sell their own
science.
I'm
Looking at the T-shirt here, I know you have this Joe Stalin-esque looking character, a bit of a commie-con, huh?
Commie-con.
Yeah, well, I'm not an Obama guy, so I don't know about the commie thing.
Is that right, comrade?
The Velvet Johnson, you ever see it? Armbands are going to come back, by the way. I think. Guy Fieri's already wearing one.
They still make the Aryan Nation. I love them.
They're kind of like the cummerbund of the arms.
Cummerbund of the arms.
One of the arms. That's awesome, dude. Copyright trademark.
I have to ask you.
That's Stellar Del right there.
Yeah.
I know one of the comic books that you worked on. You actually had members of Shonen Knife and Davy Jones of the Monkeys involved with it.
Yeah, they
you have a Davy Jones story?
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones is one of the nicest guys I ever met. Real nice guy. We were at the missus.
Did he live in Youngstown? Or
No. He lived out somewhere like by the Bloomsburg Fair.
I would be surprised if you said, which you hear from people, Davy Jones, what an asshole that guy was. It just doesn't.
Davy Jones was great. He's highly animated. He's super British. And, that's how it is. Oh, my God, he's short and he's British and he's furry. There's the guy. Yeah. Okay, so we're backstage with the guy. He's getting ready to go out. He's got a cup of tea. We're back in the dressing room. He's signing paintings and stuff like this. And my buddy comes by and he goes, hey, man, he's playing in the band.
Right.
The guitar player. And he says, hey, man, we've got like 2 weeks off. We should probably get in the studio and try to cut some stuff for your new. And he goes, no. Not right now, man. I've only got one thing on my mind. And that's the Bloomsburg Fair. And I'm like this. And all of a sudden, he looks at me and I said, I'm sorry, David. That was freaking hilarious. I'm sorry. And he says, I'm David Jones, the radio. I said, I'm Chris Yambar. How are you? Those are my paintings or something. He goes, man, I love this, man. He says, you're going to be seeing the show? I said, yeah. I says, I don't want you to get disrobed, so me and the missus are going to leave. I said, but we'll see you out there for the show. And he says, stop by the house, man. We'll have a barbecue. It'll be great. And I said, well, it's great. His barbecue consisted of the next day. He's got a charcoal grill, and he put it at the end of his driveway. A charcoal grill and a big bag of, charcoal.
In his driveway.
Yeah, his driveway at the very end of his driveway. It's not lit or anything. We're pulling in like, what's going on? Here, what he did was you walked into the house. He had a big, giant, beautiful ranch. You walked into the place. There's saddles everywhere. It's really cool. Very Western motif. And what's great was he's sitting there. He's making a big, giant thing of like gumbo.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the kitchen.
Wow.
And he's got this huge table. And it's like one of those Dracula tables that goes on forever. Okay? And it's loaded with anything you can kill, stuff, boil, bake, or fry.
Wow.
It's like the whole time. And they said, my buddy goes, man, it's some kind of barbecue. And he goes, yeah, man, dig in. This food's not going to eat itself, babe. He's a real nice guy. I plugged up his toilet, too, by the way. So
it was like a toilet tsunami.
I made a deposit in Davy Jones's locker.
We'll stop you there. We'll cover that on the second half of the show. Come back, join us with Chris Yambar.
Jerry Bruckheimer, in association with Henbrain Productions, presents Del Rivers on his Locked and Loaded comedy tour, appearing Friday, November 23rd, one night only, at the Henbane Civic Auditorium. All tickets available at Ticketmeister outlets, cash only.
Okay, folks, we're back with the Del Rivers Show. I'm Mark Elliott. Our special guest, Chris Yambar, comedic genius extraordinaire from Youngstown, Ohio. And now we're going to go to the part of the show which we call the secret beef.
Secret
This
beef.
is Dell's secret beef.
It used to be just a regular beef. Now it's a secret.
Yeah, Dell used to tell me the beef when he showed up, but now it's a secret.
Yeah,
I'm hearing this beef for the first time.
Wow. Now my beefs are always either something that's very kind of important or totally like stupid that I just can't stand.
You know I don't care.
Yeah, it's beef. Screen doors. How come they never close right? I hate the tensioner on the screen doors, and they always use aluminum screws to hold the screen in. It always, it's a pain in the
They're
ass.
attached to the house and everything.
I hate that.
I've done a lot of work. Aluminum screws are bullshit. In fact, all the screws they make to me today strip out like that.
Yeah, because they're
It's
aluminum.
crap.
It's crappy aluminum.
Because there's no more steel made in America.
Yeah, there's no more steel.
How about that?
Like Youngstown, they don't make enough steel.
Yeah.
Just make
So that's your beef screen
We can
doors?
steal
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I had a screen door that I take the dog out this morning, and just like it doesn't shut all the way. It's like they invented these tensioners
What,
to
you
shut the
retarded? You
door.
can't shut a door?
No, the screen door. It's just the automatic.
Your beef is cheap screen doors.
Yeah, but then you got the opposite problem. When you have furniture trying to bring it through the door, and it's always an extra inch that digs into the couch and taking the couch to the thing.
That's your
haven't
beef.
taken the time to measure.
Forget about starvation and famine. We're
We've
talking
gone,
about
Yeah,
we've gone from screen doors with poor tensioners to furniture that won't fit through the doorway.
Right. That's another one. That's a beef.
Okay, that's a side.
That's
beef.
almost a side beef. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a beef on its own.
Okay, so
All right.
that's
Go
the
ahead.
official beef.
Yeah.
Okay.
wow.
Now we're
He's
gonna
single.
we're gonna treat Chris. We're gonna treat
Now you know
Chris.
what?
We're gonna treat Chris to a part of the show we call the Mystery Dell. And this is a part of the show where Dell tells me something that I do not know about him.
Oh yeah. And also you hear a bell that goes off. It's something we squeeze in between.
That's awesome. Keep going.
He always has to explain.
I just gotta check something real quick. Don't
They
worry.
used to do that same exact thing on Puffin stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
And he always shows up, he's got a sheaf of papers down here the size of a phone book, yet he's reading off these scraps of little yellow pads.
Oh yeah. I just had one little thing to add to it, or add to something. The mystery beef is that you don't know about me. Is when I was 2 or 3 years old, I met Robert Kennedy at the public market.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I was
Dell's
my
been
stroller.
nailing me with these mystery Dells.
I have a distinct memory. This is a good one.
Really?
I have a
Shoot,
distinct
that's amazing.
memory.
Now this wasn't some alien implanted.
No. This is the real deal. I was
Okay.
in my stroller. This is like a memory that I remember when I was a kid because
How
I heard,
old were you at
like
this
this
time?
guy is
14?
important. Comes walking up, and it's Robert Kennedy. It's just I'm looking up from my stroller. I knew he was important because everybody's around.
How do you know it wasn't his famous double?
No, it wasn't a double. He came to the public market. It's
Did he have love beads?
It's in the. No, he didn't have love beads at the time.
Did he say chowder or chowder?
He said park the car.
Park the car.
So how old were you at this
Where's my
time?
scarf?
I was in a stroller. I'd be like 2 or 3 years old, but I distinctly remember seeing an important individual coming through the public market, and it was Robert Kennedy.
Wow.
Yeah, when he did his political season, so I figured I'd mention that.
Impressive.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Isn't that great?
How about that?
Yeah, was Rosie Greer on hand?
No.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna trump that.
Okay.
I wrote a letter to President Nixon when I was a kid
Yeah.
in middle school. I said, "Dear Mr. President, I like you. I think you are doing a very good job. I don't like that people are talking bad about you. I want you to know that you have a friend and can call me anytime you need to talk.
Did you really?
Your friend, Chris Yambar." And I handed to my dad, and I said, "Dad, I want you to send this to the President of the United States as soon as possible." And he goes, "Why?" I says, "He's looking very tired on TV, and I need to encourage him." And he goes,
That's hilarious.
Okay.
You sound like my nephew. My
he said,
nephew's
here's
very
the best part.
proactive.
2
like
weeks
that.
later, I had totally forgotten about the whole thing, right? He's practically ready to go, "I'm out of here." He's almost close, right? And I don't know
Right,
what's going on.
he's
I don't
getting
know
on
what's
that
going on.
Sikorsky chopper that
yeah.
they're about to take him on.
I
there.
get this package in the mail,
Uh-huh.
okay? Here's a letter. Dear Chris,
Hold on to these tapes. They're very important.
I really appreciate it when young people in America take an interest in politics. And you can hear the joke. And I got the letter.
You still have it?
I got the letter. I got the it's all sealed.
Yeah,
it's an actual signature. It wasn't like Obama stamped it.
The letter even had jowl stains.
It was
Jowl
all over.
stains.
You know what I mean?
Like your jowl stains.
Yeah. So, but there it was. So,
Wow.
Yeah. That's
I
what you
was
silly ass
shocked by
Stoller
that.
story.
Yeah.
I looked up and it was
Well,
Robert Kennedy.
To add to the Nixon story, when I was doing open mics in
It's
California,
news to me, by the way.
the open mic host that took his place, he was buddies with Richard Nixon. He actually, wrote back and forth, pen pals.
Wow.
He wrote back and
So
forth.
what, you were hanging out with
Because
Nixon
Nixon was-
Rebozo too? Is that
He Rebozo. If he did open mics, it wasn't.
BB, I didn't know BB Rebozo did open mics.
Nixon did open mic too.
Yeah.
He did stand up.
He was on
Tall
sports shows.
shoulder stand up.
He was actually on some sports shows.
He was on Laugh-In, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, right.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. He was on laughing, yeah.
Could
That
you
was
see
before
Obama?
Watergate.
Look. Sock it to me. You know what I'm saying? Sock to me. He's not going to do that. He's on Letterman. Well,
So you have your news, some news.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot, but I got
Okay,
the rest of the
little news from Dell.
Let's see. There was a Full House reunion that recorded recently, but without the Olsen twins.
how's that a reunion?
They didn't want to get down on their knees to pretend that they're still little.
Mrs. Olsen is dead.
Darth Vader's wife accidentally got. We got somebody to laugh.
Our producer's really dying over here.
Darth Vader's wife actually accidentally got punched. The Star Wars fan changed his name to Darth Vader, but his wife refused to change her name to Princess Leia, so she got punched.
Got punched.
Pop
Okay.
singer Fergie, not the Duchess, but the pop singer Fergie, is a bit upset about her husband Josh Duhamel's cheating rumors,
She's hot.
but more upset about his lack of employment. Oh wow.
Yeah, bummer.
Poor guy needs a job.
Bummer.
The planet Jupiter recently has been having dramatic changes in its gaseous cloud atmosphere, and you thought the Earth had some nasty
It's
weather.
its time of eternity.
Yeah.
It's its time of eternity.
Season, turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you don't have gaseous.
It's just like it's moves to cycle around the
Okay,
sun.
come on, Kronk.
All right. Well, we got a few more here. The Price is Right introduced its first male model. They had female
yeah.
models all the time. But he was promptly bought by the first woman to come on down. His price was $100.98. They don't pay models much
The
there.
first woman to come on down came on down.
Came on down, yeah.
Well, you can get the come on down $100.18
Right.
male hooker on Sunset Drive.
This is a good one. This is for our buddy George Broderick.
Oh,
A counterfeit Heinz ketchup factory was discovered in New Jersey, but was stopped after they ran out of the red food coloring, which Republicans often use for all their counterfeit products. Sorry, I know
what the
you.
hell does that even mean?
I don't know. I just made it up.
You guys, I'm not Republican or Democrat.
Yeah, you're independent, like me.
I don't even know if I'm that.
We're nonpartisan here. We try to be. Well, we can
Bipartisan.
tease them. We're bipartisan.
Fine.
This is the last one. The Mars Curiosity rover has found some unknown shiny objects on Mars, only discovered to be some old Tom Cruise movie DVDs that were tossed out from an old Blockbuster outpost.
Outpost, Tom Cruise, Outpost, Tom Cruise.
Sorry.
Dell's had a lot of Mars rover jokes.
Yeah.
I like.
Oh, and I got a new segment. This is something I'm introducing today. Hopefully I can introduce it for today. It's called the Imaginary 2x4 to the back of the head.
That's as good
These
as
are
a new
people,
segment, huh?
Yeah, new segment. These are people that deserve an imaginary 2x4 whacked to the back of their head because
This is starting to sound like the old Al Goldstein "fuck you" corner. Did you ever see?
I have to jump out
Remember
of my
Al
corner once in a
Goldstein
while.
in New York City? He had his show, and he'd go on, and he'd have the "fuck you" corner where he would start talking about someone whose guts he hated, and he'd rant, and he'd go, "Fuck you! I think you're a fucking asshole." That was Al Goldstein's "fuck you." You're starting.
It's sort of like,
yeah.
but this is the imaginary 2x4 to the back of the head. I used it in stand-up
It reminded
comedy.
me of Al Goldstein.
First award gets Bruno from Dancing with the Stars.
You love it, my God! I cannot believe it.
I can't stand it's his
Where's
flamboyant
my
criticism.
float?
Where's my float?
Oh, look, it's a unicorn. My God, it's a hot, sweaty
the 2x4.
I only got two. I got only a couple little pieces of news that I read. Is the alleged driver of Osama bin Laden, Azul al-Assad, was found innocent of all charges and scheduled for release from Guantanamo Bay prison. The defense proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Assad was never bin Laden's driver, but his only job was to Simonize his car. The Boy Scouts of America.
Sodomize his car.
Simonize.
That's a 70.
Oh, I get it. Parental.
I don't even know what Simonize.
It's right up there with Z-Bar.
Z-Bar. That was the other one. I was talking to Jason today. I came up with Rusty Jones. I was Z-Bar. That was the Z-Bar was the one.
Z-Bar was the one.
That's there was that empty void. I couldn't get it. That was it. It was Z-Bar.
My work here is done.
Okay. The Boy Scouts of America released their so-called pervert files detailing 50-plus years of unreported sexual abuse. Each city had dozens and dozens of case files, but conspicuously absent were binders of women.
Wow. Did they offer that as a merit badge? And, how hard was it to catch these How hard was it to find these boy molesters, ready? Each one of those scoutmasters had like 14 basketry merit badges, right? How hard is it to locate these guys?
I know.
I'm just saying.
It's unbelievable.
You are beautiful in that half hitch.
Bruno.
That's quite a bowl in your time.
Just poke the fire. Poke the fire.
Okay, folks, we're out of time. I hope you enjoyed Chris Yambar, our very first guest on the Del Rivers Show.
Yep.
Join us next week, next year, whenever we come back. We'll see you.
Good night.
Beat it.
There it is.
There it is.
It's a
Sounds
wrap.
good.
It's in the
Yep,
can.
it's in the
Chris is going to do his Paul Stanley.
Look, this is Chris Yambar. You notice he's wearing a Kiss Army hat, so he has to have something to do with Kiss. He does the magnificent Paul Stanley imitation.
You gotta love Paul Stanley, right? This is a guy. This is a guy who, if he wasn't in Kiss, he'd be in hot pink right now, bodysuit with the front completely open and cut straight down to the top of his butt crack. He'd be running with platform shoes on, big giant heels, holding a poodle, going, "Come on and love me, taxi, pick me up, my God, pick me up." He said, "Ow." You can picture them like in the recording studio with Paul Stanley, right? Gene Skizzy goes, "Okay, Paul, we're ready to start recording in 5, 4. Oh yeah, I love you, baby. I want to slide down the chimney of love. Rub me down with the cocoa oil, baby. Oh yeah. I was talking to someone backstage before, and he said a lot of people like to drink vodka orange juice." Like he's taking a little pull back there. No, not your political affiliation. Do you like vodka and orange juice, or don't you? You know what I mean? It's like, and the funny thing is, if you listen to him and you listen to Flip Wilson doing Geraldine, it's the same thing. I love you, killer. I love you. Come on and love me.
Geraldine.
What? He's just crazy. He said, Gene, I got a song coming on. It's burning in my loins. I got to deliver. Oh my God. Really, I love Paul Stanley.